Okay, carry on.
Trying to figure out how to phrase this. How do you feel about acting teachers in Los Angeles? Do you think obviously they're dime a dozens because we're in the entertainment capital, but do you feel like that there's different tiers between them? Do you feel like there's good ones, there's bad ones? Obviously, we don't want to name any names or anything like that.
Right.
But what has been your experience with acting teachers in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the trap that it's kind of the dilemma that all actors face, because we're supposed to train, we're supposed to get headshots, supposed to get a lot of other marketing material to make our career, to give us a higher probability of winning and succeeding in our industry. The problem is, and SAG's addressed it themselves, is to some degree we're selling dreams, right? And depending on what company you are and your credibility, there's a lot of people making the money on the backs of actors, or aspiring actors, I should say. Right? So you got to ask yourself first, what are the aspiring actors doing versus the actual actors doing? And I'd love to go in depth about how I feel about the different tiers of acting coaches, because there definitely are tiers. Just as there's tiers to talent, there's tiers to actors. There's actors that do student films. There's actors that just post a bunch of selfies on social media. There's actors that are actually on set and are shooting major blockbuster films. The same way there's tiers to actors, there's tiers to professions that surround the field of film and television, the field of acting. And with that, you do get a lot of people who are failed actors who go into teaching as a way to subsidize their income out here. And sometimes it's the blind leading the blind. How's been your experience with teachers in LA?
No, most definitely. Technically I've had two teachers, and they're both great. They're both working actors.
Yep.
And I know that separates acting teachers, being a working actor in teaching versus just being an acting teacher.
Okay.
And the teacher who I had back in Chicago, is an online class, he said it best. He said that you always want to work with teachers who are working actors.
Oh, really?
Because any teacher can teach you how to act.
Right.
But a lot of teachers can't teach you how to book. They can't teach you what happens after you get the part, after you get casted, the process of going through, preparing for a character and everything.
Right.
And that's one thing that he always said. And I remember when I moved out here, I was going to start a school at this one studio. Mm-hmm. And something told me not to go to the studio. Mm-hmm. So I texted a really good friend of mine. I said, hey, I heard that I'm supposed to be taking acting class with a really good with a teacher who's a working actor. Do you have any recommendations? And he recommended the teacher who I have now. And it's definitely a game changer, working with a working actor. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Chicago, I was training with also a teacher who was a working actor.
Oh, wow.
And she was in theater, she's been to TV and film, so she knows the game. Yeah. And I learned a lot from her as well.
Right.
And we all know acting class.
Yeah, that class we met in probably almost getting to the point of almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
It was about 8 years ago.
Yeah. That was, they're working actors, but in a different light. You know, they're not actually from what I've seen, they haven't really got anything in the industry. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's very, very different.
It's different. Yeah, there's definitely different tiers to it. And with that, it can go any direction. I used to take class at AFI, American Film Institute. SAG provided it.
How was that?
It was great. All the biggest actors I know took classes with me, and our class only had 12 people in it, and all of them are on their way to be movie stars. So that says a lot to have 4 people out of 12 in major blockbuster films, and they have more scheduled in the queue. Mm-hmm. That says a lot for a class of 12. So it was great. And when I asked SAG why they're giving these free classes, SAG said it best. They said that we've noticed that everyone's taking advantage of the actor's dollar. Like, everyone's trying to make money on the back of actors in the city. And SAG doesn't like that. And so they were that was their attempt to try to get these other studios to close down, because they noticed how many people are selling dreams. And once I heard SAG put it in such a elegant way like that, it kind of made me relook at all the teachers that are trying to teach acting to students. You know, you are paying their rent, and not that their rent doesn't deserve to be paid, but at the same time, it deserve to be paid in substitution for your hard-earned dollar that you can be putting towards other places. And in business, the biggest thing it comes down to, we're always trying to get the biggest bang for our buck, right? Because we can't bleed out, you know, all of our, we can't bleed out all of our, you know, money. We can't bleed out all of our money that we need to use for marketing, to get new headshots, get new publications for PR and things like that, for rent, you know. We can't pay out all of that to a class or an echo chamber, I like to call it, if it's not moving the needle of our careers. So when you look for classes now, you want to look for someone who does, I like how you worded it, someone who teaches you how to book. Someone who teaches you what to do post to booking. You also want to look for a community of people who are actually doing it. So back to AFI, my guys were on Netflix. They were in, you know, shout out to my guy Greg. He was in Top Gun. Like, and I say they were in, you know, with hesitation because they have several films in queue. Because this is not what they do occasionally. It's what they do consistently. And that home at American Film Institute really fostered that more so than any other class I've ever been a part of. And I think part of the credit was that the people who taught there were teaching for free. And we went there for free. And the ones who were teaching for free were SAG actors that were big movie stars at whatever point in time. And a lot of them were directors that we all recognize that were teaching those classes. So each class was different teachers, which is also a great thing about classes. Having classes with rotating teachers is one of the best things that can happen to an actor. Because if you're in a class with the same teacher week in and week out, you get an echo chamber. He can only take you so far. I'm learning Spanish right now, and I have teachers that rotate. And that's one of the biggest advantages to the classes I take. I don't have one person telling me, oh, okay, you're good. Because that person will end up getting soft to you as a student and stop bringing you across the finish line at some point in time, inevitably. It's not by choice. It's just that they get soft to you because they know you personally. Well, guess what? Directors don't. Casting doesn't. Casting doesn't care about you. So you have a teacher that does care about you, and casting doesn't. There's only so far they can pull you.
No, I know what you're trying to say. I feel like it depends on it depends on the teacher.
That's true.
There's different personalities in the world. So many different personalities. If you have a teacher who knows how to push you consistently every week and knows how you are and your weaknesses and your strengths, that could also go a long way as well. Having the same teacher week in, week out. And another thing I want to bring up is that a lot of acting teachers, not just in Hollywood but all over the world, create a codependency between themselves and the student because they have to pay bills, they have to keep the lights on and everything. Right. So they don't really, even though I hate to say it like this, but it's just the truth, they don't really teach actors to be confident. And that's part of the game, is confidence. That's what my other acting teacher told me. So if you're constantly creating this codependency of, hey, you need me, come back, oh, you're not ready yet, oh, you know, you did this wrong, yada, yada, yada. Then what's the point? If there's one thing I love about my acting class, my acting teacher was like, one of the first rules he told me in class, when the scene is done, we do not clap. We do not clap for people when they're done. He says we do not do that. No scene is ever perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect scene. Even if you did your best, you could always do better. But he says no clapping.
Well, truth is, you're never gonna get claps on set either. I mean, I've been on some pretty big projects. I don't care who's up there. There's never been a clap after anybody's scene. A-listers never clap, not one. And it'll be a monologue or whatever, the most dynamic part of the movie, and they still won't. There's no claps for them. So
no type of validation whatsoever.
Because it's their job. Are we gonna clap for the cinematographer now? Like, are we gonna clap for the sound guy?
Not the sound guy.
Like, are we gonna clap for literally every position? No, they'll clap when you rap, and that's how you know you're appreciated. But that's a rap on so and so. That's your validation. But everything else is your job. I'm not gonna clap for my doctor, once he finished putting stitches in me. I'm not gonna clap for my doctor once he checks my heart rate. I'm not gonna clap once I hop on the scale and he reads and interprets this very easy instrument to understand. And so we can't expect it as a specialist, because doctors and lawyers and all those are specialists, as are we. It is our job. We put 10,000 hours into this said craft. Now, the only validation we need, our validation comes from the hours we put in. Mm-hmm. Our validation is we can say that we put in 10,000 hours to said craft.
A process, not preparation for a role in general as well.
It's a process. It's who we are. We don't get what we want in life. We get what we are. Mm-hmm. And when the first time I heard that quote, it went way over my head. I think I was in my grandparents' basement at the time. When I heard when preparation meets opportunity. Well, preparation should be like a life, like a actual process. And like I say, with acting, I'm not new to it. I'm true to it, right? Mm-hmm. That's where real success comes from. And at that point, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of the stars aligning and just, casting, you being across from the right person, and they see that you're going to be a great asset to their project.
Right. And also who you decide to be around as well, which is why you also said in that acting class, it's very important to realize who's actually doing stuff, or who's, are they movers and shakers, right, and whatnot.
Right.
And that could also go a long way, which is why I understand why a lot of acting teachers have you audit. Because not only are you seeing how the acting teacher works with their students, you're also seeing how the students interact, work with each other as well. Because that's also very important, because that's the tribe that's the community that you're going to be a part of if you decide to join that class.
Yeah, and we talk about cumulative advantages all the time, and the people you're around is the biggest element to cumulative advantages. For me, when I sleep at night and when I wake up, I'm competing with those guys from class. When most people would be competing with the guy from their local theater class, or someone from their studio around the corner. People would be competing with them. I'm competing with guys on Netflix. I'm competing with guys in films that make over $100 million in box office. Those are my competition, because I started in the same place as them. And so when I go to sleep at night and I sit there laying in bed, that's what I'm thinking about catching up to. Or that's what I think about surpassing. When most people think about, booking a co-star, my goal is to, be one of the principals in these next feature films or whatever else with these A-list actors. Why? Because my friend A did this, my friend B did this, and my friend C also did it. I don't want to be the one lagging behind.
For sure.
And so that's part of a cumulative advantage is the circles you get around, because you want to fit in. We're socially want to fit in, because that was so important to our survival for so many years. As mammals, we're social creatures, and we always will be. So your circle is so important, because you're going to gravitate towards that. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take a break from here.